Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:07 here on O'Connor and Company as you shake off the Memorial Weekend laziness and get back to work. We're here for you. Thanks for joining us. If you missed any of our show so far, you missed a hell of an interview with Ed Martin just now, the new bulldog over there at the DOJ. Check out the podcast, subscribe to it, download it so you can catch up on what we do every morning as you're sleeping. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. And Julie, I think we should offer some relationship advice. People come here for everything. Cooking,
That's right.
Politics, news, sports. Relationship advice. Guys, if you're in a relationship and your significant other, you may look at her as a mother figure or teacher figure for that matter. But if she's pushing you away with both hands to the face at any time, that is not a love gesture.
That is not. No.
You are being abused, and you should seek help immediately.
Are we going to ask our next guest about this?
Even if you're the president of France. Phil, if you ever need any help, I want you to know that I'm here for you, Phil Wegmann. I don't want you getting the Macron treatment.
Yeah, what was that clip? Because that did not look playful. That was horrible optics there.
Yeah, guys, if your woman is doing that, she's not playing with you. All right, you need to reach out. All right. Phil Wegmann is a White House reporter there for RealClearPolitics. Phil, certainly staying busy here with the new administration. It's real fast because I think this is our first time talking to you with the new administration. Last time we had you on regularly to talk about the Biden White House. What's the biggest difference here between covering the Biden White House and covering the Trump White House?
Just a few things.
A few things, but I think the biggest marquee difference is the speed and efficiency. This is Trump's opportunity for a legacy, and he came in on day one really with a plan to make the most of executive power. He's moving swiftly, efficiently, and the difference this time is that I think that the shock and awe of it all has sort of insulated him from controversy. He does controversial things that would have been a news cycle last time, but this time around, I think that both reporters and some of the nation is just numb to what previously would have been controversial.
I think we also have a combination of Peter and the Wolf and Chicken Little, where the sky has been falling and a wolf was going to come murder everyone in the village for so many years, and it all ended up being a fake story that even if the media is onto something legitimate, we tend to not believe them now based on everything that all of the, dial it to 11, red alert, constitutional crisis garbage that we've been hearing from them.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because Donald Trump even mentioned that himself. He said on numerous occasions now that he thinks that the media is better behaved. And frankly, this time around, there's no Russian collusion conspiracy. We've seen a lot less hysterical coverage. There's no reports about the MLK bust being removed from the Oval Office. Instead, it's much more measured, I think. And, the press knows that, if you're going to go all in on something this time, you better have the facts. And I hope that's the result of some introspection, but we'll see. I mean, the public certainly thinks that we were all on vacation during Biden and that we were over the top during Trump 1. My theory of the case is that the administration changes, but the strike zone doesn't. As reporters, it's our job to be as aggressive as necessary, regardless of who's in power. But, we can't lose our heads.
Phil, are you surprised by the passage of the big, beautiful bill in the House? There is such a slim margin there, but Mike Johnson seems to really be able to wrangle those cats. What was your reaction? And also, what sort of any thoughts on Mike Johnson's leadership?
Yes. My thought here is that Speaker Mike Johnson might actually be good at this. He's the accidental speaker, right. And yet this guy who not many people knew of before he picked up the speaker's gavel is pretty good at wrangling his conference. Now, his hope was that the Senate wouldn't mess with the one big beautiful bill because he has this shaky balance of just enough votes. But what did we see after he nurses this thing back to life at least half a dozen times? Well, as it's taking its first wobbly steps in the Senate, Trump says, do a cartwheel. Does anybody want to see this thing do a cartwheel? He tells reporters that he doesn't mind if changes happen. And I think what that reflects is that even as the White House knows that this is their best chance to get something done, even as they've telegraphed that they're more than happy for it to be passed into law as it is currently, Trump's willing to make deals in the end. And if he thinks that he can get a better, perhaps more conservative bill into law, then he's willing to take a shot.
Phil Wegmann's our guest, White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics. The president also said that he would solve the Ukraine-Russia war on day one. Of course, everyone knew that was hyperbole, but it was a demonstration that he would be able to do what Biden for 4 years was incapable of doing. That said, he has done quite a bit in terms of getting the parties talking, not necessarily Zelensky and Putin, but their people are talking. But he seems quite frustrated over the lack of progress and certainly over Russia's violent attacks over the weekend. Where do things stand right now in terms of the Russia-Ukraine war and where Trump intends to move forward?
Well, the land war continues and the violence hasn't stopped, but I think that we may be at the beginning of the end of Donald Trump's patience with Vladimir Putin. The big news over the weekend is that he called the Russian president crazy. And his insinuation there is that Putin has changed. But over the last couple of decades, this guy has been pretty consistently a thug and a murderer. The difference, as you note, though, Larry, is that he was able to get Russia and Ukraine to start talking. Those talks have not borne fruit yet, but that's significant if you ask the British or the French. The thing hanging over all of this, though, is that if this White House loses patience and they walk away, are they walking away from negotiations, or are they walking away from Ukraine entirely, which is the outcome that Putin wants? So we'll see, but it does seem that we're getting to an inflection point here.
One other seeming shift from President Trump over the weekend had to do with his freeze on pending 50% tariffs on the EU. He claimed that he had a productive conversation with the head of the EU, whose name is German and unpronounceable. Where do you think stand here now until July 9th? So is this everyone's saying, oh, Trump blinked and he doesn't plan on putting these tariffs and it's all a show? Or is this, in fact, the actual production that he was hoping a threat of tariffs would produce here with negotiations with the EU body?
I think it's a little bit of both. This isn't the first time that we've seen Trump throttle back and bring the U.S. back from the brink on these tariff threats. It's becoming a bit of a pattern. He lays out something extreme, and then he settles for something smaller. In the Oval Office a few weeks ago, he told me that what he wants is a 10% baseline tariff on just about each country, that it could be more significant in some cases. And so the 50% tariff that he advocated for against the EU, I think that was the starting point of negotiations here. We obviously aren't in the room for those talks, so we don't know what the Europeans are telling him. But what we do know is that there are a lot of European countries right now who are terrified at the idea of this kind of tariff being put in place. So perhaps he can get a better deal. I know that in the short term, the markets are probably going to be happy with this reprieve.
Yeah.
Phil Wegmann, get back to work. It's game on. I know you enjoyed your little light holiday there, and it's like, oh, Arlington, okay, that'll be easy. But now it's back to it. Get ready. It's the Trump 2.0, Phil. I hope have you been working out? Is your cardio okay?
Keeping the cardio up so, I don't lose my breath, keep my head above water.
All right, good. I don't want to hear you lazing about. We need 4 good years out of you, Wegmann, and then you can retire. Thank you, Philip. He'll write a book. Everyone's writing a book. You can write a book like Jake Tapper, except yours will be truthful and honest.
Exactly.